in a box. And I'm gonna scare Ren. No, not that. Were you hiding the whole time? I wanna know how you got in there. That's for another day.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Wrenegade Off-Road. My name's Ren. I'm legally blind and I build off-road stuff, and we got some parts in the mail. And Nikki's in here already trying to dig into them.
So what we got is some Genright highland fenders. I went with the 4-inch fender flare. If you've seen the channel, if you've seen my Jeep on the channel, I got that black LJ, and we have Poison Spyder fenders already on there. And if you've seen the Jeep, you've seen the hood, and you've seen that there's some holes in the hood. So we bought a new hood for it, and we went to try it on, and the Poison Spyder fenders, when we tried on the hood, didn't fit quite right. There's a gap. So we were trying to decide what we wanted to do about that, if we want to go back to a new stock hood, or if we wanted to keep the new hood and find some new fenders. Well, we decided to upgrade the hood, and so I had to look for new fenders, and this is what we came up with our search. I like the way these look, nice and sleek. I like a little bit of a flare, so we'll go ahead and show you what we got.
And big thanks to Jeff at Genright for hooking us up with all this stuff, and thank you all for helping us out with this Jeep. It's gonna look great. Let's see what we got. Woo.
Bam.
I think that's the battery box extension. Oh, and a battery box. That's cool. It's a whole system for that.
Box number 2.
Give her a tug. It's almost a shame we're gonna powder coat it. So there is a reason we went with aluminum. I like the fact that it's light, but the big reason is if you ever come in contact with a rock when you're out wheeling or getting a wreck, whatever, this attaches to the tub right here. And if it's a steel fender, imagine if you take a huge hit right there and it pulls this, it's not gonna tear the steel really. It'll pull the tub or push the tub in. With aluminum, it'll just tear and it'll just shear off, which is a lot better. I'd rather destroy the fenders than screw the tub up. Alrighty. Hello in there.
Hello! Help!
Yeah.
I got in and I don't know how to get out.
Yeah, that's what you get for scaring people. It's hard to find. Asked her if there's extra parts, and the only way she found them because she was standing in the box.
See? Useful.
Ridiculous. You want out?
See you later. I mean,
What are you doing?
Help.
You're done. Jesus.
How you gonna get in here?
How'd you get in here?
I climbed in.
What do you mean you
What?
climbed? Wiggle you out of the box! Alright. I hope you all enjoyed that. Alright, so now we got all this stuff unboxed, and now we gotta take it all to powder coating.
I got Nikki unboxed.
Yeah, and unbox Nikki. Ridiculous. Alright, we'll see y'all in a little bit.
Alright, we got everything back from powder coating. The boys down at Hicks Offroad got us hooked up again. All black. Everything's nice and fresh and pretty. So next we're gonna figure out how to put these on. Since we had the Poison Spyder on before, the instructions aren't, some of it's not really relevant, so we just gotta figure out how we're gonna get them on and how we're gonna install the brackets for the battery mount and everything. So we will keep you updated. So here we go.
Update number 1. So we got the battery box somewhat mounted, just loosely mounted. So So it kind of tilts off at an angle, and you got your couple bolts down. You got 2 bolts here that hold it to the tub, and then there's 2 nuts that hold it down here, or not nuts but bolts. I haven't figured out how those goes on yet, but if you look up here on the battery box, 4 carriage bolts hold on here. So you can mount this in 2 different ways. It's really fully adjustable, so you can slide it back and forth, and you can see all the different mounting locations. But I'm going to mount it as far back towards the motor as possible for now, and then once we get the fenders on, we'll try to figure out where everything lies, but everything's loosely mounted right now. So as for the battery box and tray and the extension, that's what we got going on for right now. And we'll update y'all as soon as we get to some more progress. Okay, so second update. So the inner fender here is separate from this upper fender here, and then there's another little piece that goes back here that I'll show you in a second. That my recommendation is you need to put the inner piece in first, and then come back in with the upper piece, and then come back in with this other piece that's over here. I'll show you that in a second. I didn't know what those were for, so let me get it right now. Looks like this. This is the passenger side. So this piece here bolts to the back side of the grill. You can kind of see a little bit back there. So here, I'll actually show you on the passenger side. So we come over here. There's these 2 bolt holes here, and it bolts into like that. So if you get this kit and you don't know what these brackets are for, because I could not find them in the instructions, or Nikki couldn't find them in the instructions because I couldn't read them, but they weren't in there, she said. And so that's where that bracket goes, if anyone has any questions about that bracket. And so now we have everything kind of loosely mounted. And if you look on top of here, you can see there's no holes drilled into this upper piece for the upper fender liner. And there's a couple holes on the fender. Now in the instructions it says to use pop rivets that goes inside here, and I believe that's to reuse, and you have to drill holes into your existing OEM ones that you cut out. And it could be also that we need to be, I'm going to have to drill holes into this, but the hard part right now is trying to get this lined up exactly where we want it and fitted. Then we got to jump on the passenger side and do the same thing, but we're not going to have to do with the battery box on that side. We're just going to have to go from there. All right, so what I'm going to try to do is I put the fender on, or I put this in first, and then I put the fender on. So I'm going to try now is I'm going to put this in and bolt the top of the inner fender on, and then bolt that little piece onto the side here. Then I'm going to put the fender on. So I'm going to try to do that and see how that works out, and we'll find out if they go smoothly or not. Alright, so got everything on the Jeep. The only thing we have left to do is I need to drill out the inner fenders to these little holes to mount them to the fenders themselves. I got everything lined up, all the brackets that I can think of on. If you look over here, the only 3 brackets, I have no idea where they go. Hopefully within the next time you see the Jeep, I'll have these in the right spots and I'll let you know exactly where they went. So as for the parts left over, all we have is the vents and those brackets there. But as you can see, we got the passenger side on. Everything went smoothly, as to be expected. But we like the look of them. I like them. It looks pretty good. It's just now the fenders needs to be fine-tuned and adjusted. So the only thing left is I gotta figure out how to mount the evap box and a couple other mechanisms that's over here. I gotta figure out what to do with all that. And then mount the fuse box. And then that's pretty much it for under the hood. What do you think, Miss Nicole?
I like the way these look. I didn't really install the other ones, so I can't really compare the installation process. They weren't really that bad to install. It just would have been nice to have a little bit of guidance. I think then they would have been really quick. But so far, I like them. So we'll just kind of see with everything else what we think of them when we finish everything up. And I just wish, like, you knew the reasoning for some of this stuff or what. But they look nice. It's just some things are a little bit weird.
Instructions could have been a lot easier to run with. So the way the instructions were set up is you can install them with your OEM style fenders after you cut them all up, but they didn't give you the option on how to install them without doing that. There was a very in-depth, really good write-up on doing that, but we went with the inner fenders, and there's not a whole section of instructions to how to install those. It's kind of just a little bit of trial and error.
Unless we misplaced them, but
Yeah, I haven't seen them. If they're out there, I would love to see them. But yeah, that's the only downfall so far on these fenders is just the lack of instructions for the inner fenders that we've seen. But other than that, they're on 3 pieces, 1, 2, 3 in that bracket, and then the fender. But as for now. All right, so we got everything together finally. I got the fenders all mounted up to the inner fenders. We used some self-tappers, which was really nice and easy. I didn't really want to use the pop rivets because I didn't want to fully mount them and not be able to adjust them later, or if I have to take anything apart, it's gonna suck. So I didn't use those. The one big benefit of these fenders and inner fenders is this tray here, which is, I like it a lot compared to the other brands. It drops down, which is really nice, where you can put any other accessories you have, like for instance, just the fuse box alone. And the old Poison Spyder fenders that we had on here, it just came straight off here and out. And so I couldn't use this tray that hooks to the fuse box. And so in order to get that done, you had to take everything apart and like zip tie the fuse box to that, and it just wasn't good. So this system allows you to use your factory box and the tray itself, which is really nice, and I really like that a lot. Got all that mounted up, battery box all tightened up and secure. Got all the fenders secured, all the bolts ran through, and then I still couldn't figure out where this bracket goes, or the 2 little 90-degree brackets. Just for some reason, they didn't have instructions on where this stuff goes, and I called Genright and asked them, and they said, if you can't find a spot for it, just throw it away if you don't use it. I was like, okay. So I don't like throwing things away, so I have it. So if anybody knows what this bracket goes to on here, hit me up in the comments. Let me know. I would love to know, and I'm pretty sure everybody else would love to know where this thing goes. So without further ado, we did all this work for this one thing, and I'm super happy about it. It turned out really good. So let me show you the hood that we went with. So the whole reason behind all these new fenders and everything is this thing right here, the AEV Highline hood. This is not the original AEV Highline hood. This one is a fiberglass recreation that Genright offers. So I scored this off the trading post actually on Facebook, which was really cool. And so we were just going to use a traditional hood that had already been cut. Turns out that hood would have not worked with the fenders that we had anyways. So I'm glad we even did all this. So it turned out great. So we'll be up front and straight about this. This hood is not easy peasy to get on here. My body guy said he spent $250 on materials just to get this hood looking as good as it looks. And and I'm very happy about it. It took a lot of time for him to get it all cleaned up. These hoods do not come perfect. They are fiberglass, so if you order one of these, do not expect 100% purity on this thing. Now the cool thing about this hood is all like the mounts for the stock stuff, it has provisions for each thing. So like you can see here, the indentions for the hinge mounts for the tie downs. So that's all indented, and there's little bitty spots where you go in and you can drill into the hood and know exactly where all your hardware is going to end up, which is really nice. So even the hood latch has a little provision for it. So you can see right here is a mount, and then there is provisions for the hood prop. You can kind of see the two little holes back there. Unfortunately, the screws did not fit in those holes. The holes were too big, so I need to figure out what to do with that. Either get bigger screws or just not run it. But that's pretty much what it looks like with all the other holes. It's nice that they lay it all out, but I would highly recommend drilling everything out before you send it to the body shop. And that's exactly what we did. So we did everything before we sent it to him. But I think it turned out awesome. It makes the Jeep look a lot different and a little custom, unique look. I'm finally glad we got it on there. It makes the Jeep look so much better. What do you think?
I really like the way it looks. I did a lot of black. Obviously, this is my daily driver, so this is more my style. Ren's been really good at telling me what his opinion is on different brands and different items and everything, kind of helping guide me to find what I really want as far as the style and the colors and everything. That's my take on what I like. We have some more to do on this one, not a whole lot more, but we do have some more to do, especially on the outside. I want to, as you can see, I have a little bit of some teal accents here and there. I'm going to bring that in a little bit more to the Jeep, so stay tuned for some more of that. And we still have, some more work to do on this vehicle and all the other Jeeps. So stay tuned for more on this Jeep, and there's more Jeeps to come. Like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you next time.
Later.
Bye.